Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Estrella virtual visit series. I'm Allison Campbell with Estrella Consulting, and I'm so excited to welcome Alyce Myers from Durham University in Durham, England. Our virtual visit series is designed to allow you to get to know the universities and their staff in a more personal way. So we're thrilled to have Alyce joining us today. If you don't mind just taking a few moments, just introducing yourself and telling us how long you've been with Durham University.
Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm an international officer with Durham University. It's been about 2 years and 9 months that I've been working with Durham, so it's wonderful. I'm based regionally out of Austin, Texas, but I cover all of North America, so I'm traveling all to nooks and crannies in different parts of the States and Canada, so I'm very happy to be here today.
Do people get really disappointed when you don't have like a British accent when they meet you?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
all the
I was
time.
100% expecting a British accent, but I feel like more likely than not, when I meet with some of the international universities that we've had on our virtual visit series, they are based in the US and they don't have the
Mhm.
accent. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I was just
but
thinking for some reason you were going to be the one that had the British accent.
no, we do have I'm part of a team of four on the Americas team. So two of my members are based in Durham, and then two of us are located in the United States. But yes, we try to cover it all and do what we can. But I've been to Durham many times, so I can speak to it pretty well.
That's great.
Mhm.
Well, tell us a little bit about Durham. For those people that are watching that may not have heard of your university, just tell us where it's located, your enrollment, some of your premier programs, kind of your 90-second elevator pitch.
Sure. Well, Durham University is up in the northeast of England. So, for those of you that maybe haven't been to that area before, we are just south of Newcastle. So, if you are a Newcastle United Premier League football soccer fan, we're literally 12 minutes away on the train between Durham and Newcastle. From Edinburgh, it takes about an hour and 45 minutes by train. So we're really close to the Scottish border. And then it's about 3 hours by train from London. But I mean, I tell people in the States, just 2 hours. It's really not that long for us. And it is usually a straight train ride. You can take the train from King's Cross Station in London all the way up to Edinburgh, and we're just one of the stops along the way. The northeast of England is beautiful. There's over 70 different castles that students can go and visit. It's a lot of history in the area. We're pretty close to the coast. You can get to many beaches within 45 minutes to an hour. So even surfing is really popular up in the northeast. And there's a lot of beautiful parks and whatnot. So if students like nature, castles, and hiking, this is a really great opportunity for them.
I
But
love
Durham
it.
University it dates back to the year 1832. We've got about 22,000 students currently, about 16,000 undergraduates, and about 350 US students on campus between undergrad and postgrad. So a nice little North American, um, you know, area on the campus here. But it's very historic. We've got a beautiful cathedral that you can see sort of in the background of my screen here. It dates back to the year, oh gosh, 1093, I believe. And then we
Wow.
have a castle as well that is owned by the university, and that dates back to 1072. And fun fact, students can actually live in the castle. We have 80 bedrooms inside of the castle walls.
Wow, that is
Mhm.
incredible. I am really shocked at the size. I was not anticipating you to say that there were 22,000 students at Durham.
Yeah, yeah, we're about a mid-sized school, I would say. So it's not one of the larger ones, but yeah, you can expect, that the 22,000 amount. But Durham is quite small. I say it's like kind of a university town, college town, if you will. So you can walk through Durham, the city and the campus in about 40 minutes or so from end to end. And you can pretty
Yeah.
much get around to wherever you need to go to your classes, to your housing within 20 to 25 minutes in within a daytime period. So it's really not that easy or difficult, or sorry, not that difficult to get around the city.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, thank you for giving us kind of like a lay of the land and what the expectation would look like. So,
Mhm.
as you are recruiting, like you said, you're recruiting typically the North American continent. What type of student are you looking for from, say, America? Like, what type of student do you think would be a good fit at Durham?
Right, yes. Well, first and foremost, academically inclined students. We are currently ranked 94th in the world as a university, and we are currently ranked third in the UK with the Times and Sunday Times. So we beat Oxford and Cambridge this year, which we're really excited about. And we were
Wow.
named University of the Year with the Times and Sunday Times. So academically inclined students that really follow our admission requirements, which we have all posted on our North America page, whether they're doing AP classes or they're doing the IB diploma. There's a few different qualifications that we can look for. Also, I mean, Durham is a close-knit community, even though we have 22,000 students, and we really want students to get involved on campus. We have a collegiate system at Durham, so every single student will be a part of one of our 17 colleges, and they organize a ton of activities throughout the week, throughout the month. And they can be anything from volunteering events, getting involved in sports leagues, different clubs and societies. And across the whole campus, we have about an 85% participation rate amongst all of our societies and activities that I've mentioned. So students that really want to
That's
get
great.
involved and be kind of, in the campus atmosphere and whatnot and be a part of that culture.
I really appreciate you telling me a little bit more about that because I feel like some of the other UK schools that I have had on our virtual visit series, it's a little bit less of a residential feel. Like it's like a lot of students that are working simultaneously or they're like commuting back and forth to campus. So it sounds like you have like more of a tight-knit campus community. Would you say that it's a residential campus?
Yes, in a way. So every single student is guaranteed accommodation in their first year in one of the 17 colleges. Durham, there is, I guess, a main building area, but I mean, all the buildings and different departments are spread throughout the city. So there's not really one true center to the campus. They are spread out, but I mean, like I said, it's a small city. You can get everywhere by walking within 20-25 minutes even. So yes, I would say that.
Okay. And so I'm trying to think like in the lens of an American family that's willing to send their student over to Durham. You said the first year housing would be guaranteed, so they don't have to worry
Yep.
about that.
Hmm.
But for like second and you're on a 3-year system,
Yes,
correct?
we are. Hmm.
Okay. So during your second and third year, is there, some help within like your maybe accommodations department that someone could say, hey, these are really good apartments or flats that we think your student could be able to live in? And again, I think because I've done these a few times with some UK universities, and you can totally correct me that like having a roommate's not really a thing.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
Yes, we have a few shared rooms, but a majority of our rooms are single bedrooms. So students don't necessarily need a roommate unless they would like one. Um, and what was the beginning of the question? I'm sorry.
Just if you needed help, like find again, like if
Oh, yes, for private
you're guaranteed the
accommodation.
first year, it's fine. But like that second and third year, like, okay, my 19-year-old's going back. Where do they live? Is there like some sort of service on campus that would help them find another place to live for the next 2 years?
Yeah, of course. So our Students Union has a ton of resources for students that are looking for private accommodation. And so what we see is after that first year, many students will, make a lot of their friends through the collegiate system. So they move into an apartment together, and that can be a 2, 3, 4 bedroom apartment, whatever might be available. Our
Okay.
one partner organization that we work with in Durham is Morgan Douglas. That's kind of our leasing agency that we vetted as a campus. So we usually send students there at first, but then there's lots of websites and resources for students if they want to work maybe within other agencies or with landlords and whatnot throughout Durham.
Okay, that sounds
Mhm.
great. Can you talk to me a little bit more about the academics? Like, what are some of the programs that really stand out at Durham?
Yeah, of course. So some of our top 50 world ranked programs are going to be usually in the humanities and social sciences. So what those are, we are ranked very highly for archaeology, anthropology, classics and ancient history. Also, history is a kind of general program. Our law school is ranked, I think, 57th in the world. Politics, international relations ranks in the top 100. And also things like theology and philosophy rank really highly as well. So pretty much all of us are going to be top, 100 world ranked programs. But even though we have those, arts and humanities and social sciences programs, even the STEM programs in our business school tend to do really well too. Our business school is triple accredited. So we've got the AACSB accreditation, we've got EQUIS accreditation for European accreditation, and then AMBA for MBA. And that triple
Okay.
accreditation is only held by 1% of business schools globally. And then for even our STEM programs like engineering, computer science, biology, chemistry, so on and so forth, they usually all rank within the top 10, if not even the top 5 in the UK. So we have very
Wow.
academically challenging and very highly ranked programs on our campus. We've got about 150 bachelor's degree programs total throughout our 27 different departments.
Awesome. That is
Mhm.
really cool. I
Mhm.
love that. I mean, it's so hard now. I feel like the classics and the arts and the humanities, I don't say are phasing out, but they're just becoming less popular, and we're seeing just like the degree seeking students population shrinking and the degrees granted in those areas being less. So the fact
Yeah.
that that's something that's really strong for you is very encouraging because we
Mhm.
still need those types of majors. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Um, what is maybe a major that you have on your campus that you feel is maybe flying under the radar that you're like, we do this really well, but people don't really know us for this?
Yeah. We've got a couple. One of our newer programs on the campus is bioengineering. It's an integrated master's program, so they can do the 3-year engineering degree and then plus a 1-year master's on top of it. That's been very popular, and we've been kind of looking and seeing on the campus, this is becoming more popular, and we needed to kind of just do things differently. And we currently rank, I believe, sixth overall in the UK for engineering. So I think it's a very wonderful program. All students will work on a research project at the end of their 3rd year as well, so they get that level of research involved within their program. So I'd say bioengineering is definitely one of them. And then I guess not one that's under the radar, but one that's still pretty popular is our PPE program. So that's philosophy, politics, and economics. So I know in the UK, usually students will have to pick one track that they can go to, but we do have a couple of like joint degrees that they can do, and PPE is one of them. And another one that my US students typically like to hear of, but don't necessarily know about, is our combined honors and social sciences program. And so what this is they can pick 2 and up to 4 different subject areas that they're interested in. And they can be within the business school, arts and humanities, and social sciences. So the sciences kind of fall off there, but we do have natural sciences as well if they want to do joint programs within the sciences too. So a few little combination programs here and there.
One of my next questions was going to be talking about an honors program, so I'm glad that you
Okay.
highlighted that. Is there anything that a student would need to know if they were interested in a program like that? Is it a separate application? Are they evaluated at the time of application?
Yeah, no, wonderful question. So I know in the States, you usually have to apply for a separate honors college, and there might be some letters of recommendation that they might need to write an essay and so on to be a part of that. But actually, all of our programs are honors level. So they'll get an honors degree in any Bachelor of Arts science program at the undergraduate level at Durham. We are research intensive. We're part of the Russell Group. So it's a group of 24 research intensive universities that receive over 70% of the government budget for research programs and projects. So all of our departments are very well funded in research. And because all of our undergraduate programs are honors level, they all will participate in a level of research in their 3rd year within their program.
So you're not like the American universities that's fearing their funds being pulled. You guys are like, yes, we have funds. They're guaranteed. They're growing.
Yep.
Students get to use them.
Exactly.
So that's another little nudge to maybe consider a university in the UK versus staying domestic. So thank you for
Absolutely.
sharing
Yeah.
that. Do you have, so it sounds just from what you're telling me, like I just was typing in my notes, like so many accreditations, acronyms, honors, rankings.
hmm
Would you consider yourself a highly selective university?
Yes, because like I said, we are part of the Russell Group, and the Russell Group is considered kind of like the UK's Ivy League in a way. So it's going to be a group of more elite institutions. And there's a website, you can go on the Russell Group website to look into. And as far as our entry requirements, I mean, we do look at test scores normally. So usually students will have to have either 4s or 5s on their AP test scores to get into our institution, between maybe a 36 to a 39 overall IB diploma score to get into our institution. And then there also might be some subject specific requirements. So yes, I would say maybe our entry requirements are a little bit more rigorous than some other institutions, but we're pretty on par with other Russell Group institutions in the UK.
Okay, I'm just writing that down.
Yeah.
All right. Can you tell me a little bit about student life? So I know you mentioned just like the town of Durham was very accessible and a lot of the students kind of lived there. Like tell us a little bit about like what are students doing extracurricularly or on the weekends?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yes, I mentioned Durham's a pretty walkable city, but very much kind of a college town in a way. Most of the social activities will come from either our students' union or through the collegiate system, like I mentioned. So earlier I said every single student is going to be a part of one of our 17 colleges. They stay with that college all 3 years of their undergraduate program. So they can live in their college their 1st year, but like I said, even if they move out of that college 2nd and 3rd year, they can still go and access all the amenities and activities that are offered. So every single college will have a common room area. So we have an undergraduate and postgraduate common room. So students can join the common room. And like I said, those are the ones that will organize a lot of the social activities like volunteering, sports leagues, clubs and societies, so on and so forth throughout the week. Also at Durham, we're pretty unique. We organize gowned formal dinners. So it's very Harry Potter-esque. And many of the colleges will either host them once a week. Sometimes it's only once a term, so 3 times a year. It just really depends. But sometimes they have themes to them, so it'll be maybe Halloween themed,
That's
holiday
awesome.
themed for Christmas. Sometimes they even invite employers out to dine with the students, so they can be a variety of different things. So every single college will organize some type of unique, maybe gowned or more casual dinner for the students throughout the year.
That's
Also
great.
within, yeah, I know it's wonderful. It's one of my
Sounds
favorite
really
things
fun.
about
I'm
Durham.
like,
Yeah.
when you said the King's Cross station, I was like, my mind immediately went to like Harry Potter when we were talking before,
Oh
like how the
yeah.
accessibility, but that sounds really, really cool. The
Mhm.
castles.
I know, yes, we have a castle on campus, and our college system, it's very similar. We say it's very similar to Harry Potter houses. So they all get put into a house and they're, with that house the entire time that they're there. And there's like little sports league competitions occasionally. So if they like that kind of atmosphere, kind of this old historic city and that Harry Potter aspect to it, I think they'll enjoy the campus here.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about outcomes. So again, I think we try to work to dispel that fear for students maybe coming from America that my degree isn't going to matter as much, or I won't be able to get the same type of job if I was to take it back to the state. So you've mentioned again a lot of accreditations. Can you talk to us about like some of the outcomes that your students are experiencing that would ensure that they have employment at the end of their degree?
Yeah, of course. Well, our Career Center did a poll of different students recently, and I believe as of last year, 90% of all of our graduates are either in further study or in full-time employment after they graduate within 15 months. So I think that's a really great statistic. We are seeing, I guess, for US students specifically, they can choose two different routes. If they're not necessarily have UK citizenship, if they don't are not a dual citizen, don't have that passport, they can do something called the graduate route visa. And so what this is it's an extension maybe of their student visa, but they can work full time and live in the UK for an additional year and a half after their program is finished. So if they make a company connection, a foundation connection, anything like that, and they would like to still stay in the UK, they actually can do that. And then usually afterwards, that'll be eligible potentially for work sponsorship. The students that do come back to the States, though, I think they're all having very, successful conversations in their interviews and whatnot. So a foreign degree, and especially a degree at Durham, looks really wonderful. And I think it really sparks lots of conversations with recruiters and potential jobs that they'll hold in the future. And we have a huge alumni network in the United States. I mean, pretty much everywhere. We have an alumni office on our campus that will organize events in and around the United States, and they're always very successful. And I mean, students are working for, big name companies, the top five consulting firms, so on and so forth. So a degree from Durham is a very successful one.
When you say you had mentioned like in the third year, a lot of the students do like research opportunities. Would that be kind of like considered almost like a co-op, what we would consider in America, where they're working for someone, or maybe even like an internship where they're out in the field getting experience and then bringing that back? Or is it kind of separate?
Potentially, it depends on the department. So sometimes it will be maybe research within our already established facilities on our campuses. Sometimes it can be with an organization or a company in and around County Durham or in the UK. So I can say it will just depend.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's the college answer. It depends. But
Yeah,
yeah, I was
yeah,
just trying
that's
to
fair.
like wrap my mind around that as like that third year when you're doing research. Is it more like research based on the university, or is it like research out in the field where you're working for someone? And we
Mhm.
know, just having that access to employers and getting your foot in the door and like having that practical experience is such a big piece of employability. So that's why I was kind
Mhm.
of curious.
I understand.
Um,
Yeah.
let's talk a little about, this isn't as fun as or exciting, but just like the practical steps. So if a student's interested, how do they get started? Maybe as a junior in high school in America, like how can they start kind of that process of vetting, is this the right school for me? And then what the application process would look like.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, first and foremost, because the UK is more academic in focus, I would say go on our North America page. It's very easy to find. You can Google Durham North America, and it'll bring up all of our entry requirements. So look and see if you are a student that will be able to meet them, because in the UK, sometimes if you maybe make a test score down from what we're asking for, there might not be the chance to get in. So we want to make sure students will have that academic rigor, at least to get into our institution there. But also on the personal statement essay on the UCAS application, it's very important to have at least that passion for the program too. So we want students to be involved in extracurriculars that are maybe related to the course of study that they're interested in. maybe involved in part-time jobs or volunteering that are related to that course as well. So we really want students to just have that passion for the subject. It's very different from the States. Usually you can apply for a university and then later on change your major. But in the UK, it's very much about you're not applying to the university itself, but applying to engineering at Durham or applying to English at Durham. So we want to make sure you have that passion area and for that subject that they're looking for. And for those of you that don't know, every UK institution is on UCAS. It stands for University and Colleges Admissions Service. So UCAS is honestly a great place to start. It's a whole, information hub. There's lots of helpful videos and resources and blog posts from students and staff members in and around the UK. And also it's a great search engine. So they can search different programs at different universities, look at their entry requirements. So it's very, very helpful to start there too.
As a counselor, I can attest to that. Like, as I've started to kind of get to know some of the international universities, I've leaned on that UCAS resource quite a bit. And the podcast is great. Like, I listen to the podcast sometimes when I walk my dog. It's like 25 to 30 minutes, and we'll give you some really tangible tips and even great stuff for like parents. If you're, again, I think we're seeing such a like an uptick in the interest in studying abroad, like whether it be for 3 years or for a semester or for like a summer or a gap year program. But I think there's just like that fear of the unknown for parents. But I think that the UCAS, just like the social media channels and the resources they have available are extremely helpful. So if you're considering that, like it's a really easy listen or a really easy like platform to kind of navigate and get some of your questions answered. So I
Mhm.
appreciate you saying that. Let's talk about finances. Like, what does that look like for a US student? Do you have scholarships available? I mean, like we do in America, we've got the merit scholarships based on being a strong student. Like, do you do that because you're a more it's like a highly ranked university? Like, do you need to incentivize students to come, or is it all based on need?
Yeah, of course. So our tuition rates range between, I think, 24,500 and up to 33,250. That's going to be the range. Our lower tuition rates are going to be those arts, humanities, and social sciences programs. And then the tuition rates that are a little bit higher, maybe that 27 to 33,000 range will be more of our STEM programs, just because it costs a little bit more to run those programs. So depending on the tuition rate, that's what students can expect, that kind of big, maybe 10,000 pound window here. Other than that, housing with a meal plan can be maybe another 8 to 10,000 pounds on top of that. So it's that's if they're living in our college and do a full meal plan, which they can do. They can get catered accommodation within our program. So it's usually under 55,000 US dollars total for everything, and potentially even less depending on the tuition rate of the program. And I know some of
Okay,
these US schools can be, especially if they're private schools, 80, $90,000 a year for cost of attendance. And then even some out-of-state institutions can be either on par or even a little bit more expensive than our institution. So one, it's not as expensive as you might think. And then for just scholarship opportunities, we did just introduce on October 1st new Inspiring Excellence scholarships on our campus. So we're very excited about them. They're open to any of our undergraduate programs. So that can be anything from sciences, liberal arts, anything like that. They are between 5,000 and 10,000 pound scholarship awards. It is a separate application that the students need to fill out. And it's three short answer questions, but I mean, they're really short. They're 300 words apiece. And it's very similar to kind of the UCAS application questions like, why do you want to study this course? I think they're more specific to why you want to come to Durham within that
okay,
scholarship form. But our first round deadline, I believe, is mid-January. So students can submit that either right before they submit their UCAS application. They don't have to have submitted it. They just need like a little ID number. And then the second round consideration is going to be, I believe, at the end of May. So students can, apply later on if they would like to, if they didn't know about it initially. But that's why, hey, we're doing this little conversation today so students will know about applying
that's
for
great.
those scholarship awards. Mhm.
That's always one of my questions too, is do you have any type of like hidden or additional scholarship opportunities? So that sounds
Mhm.
like a great option and it sounds like it's brand new. So this is definitely perfect timing.
Yes.
And you had
Mhm.
mentioned before we started recording, your application deadline is January 14th, correct?
Yes, and that is the UCAS deadline for
For all
most schools
schools.
within the UK too. So yes, we'll have that January 14th deadline. We do tend occasionally to keep a few of our programs open after that deadline for international students, but some of them we do close if they're popular. So I would just say keep that January 14th deadline in mind, and potentially some might be open at a little bit of a later date.
Okay,
Mhm.
that sounds great. Well, This one's so fast. I feel like I've got through a lot of the questions. And again, like
Oh,
if you're watching this, if you have more specific questions for Alyce or about Durham, like please reach out to her. Um, Use those resources that she shared about like the UCAS platform. You can go on their website to the North America's website. But as we sign off, like I know you said you've been with them almost 3 years and you've been to
mhm.
campus a number of times. Maybe you could tell us, and I, again, because you're not there as frequently, but so I'll kind of like
Yeah.
softball this one out to you. What is maybe one fun fact about the university that like really wows you as someone who's like coming in from like out of the country, coming from the US? What's something
Mhm.
that really wows you? Or maybe a really amazing alum or guest speaker or guest that has been on campus. So any of those three you could end
Yeah.
with.
I can answer both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, one fun fact about Durham is that Harry Potter was actually filmed on our campus, on our cathedral. So you can see a lot of Quidditch practice scenes that were filmed in the cathedral, and also McGonagall's classroom, where she does a lot of her transfiguration courses. That was filmed in the chapter house in the cathedral as well. So you can see a lot of the cloisters. So a lot of people will come and like, do recreations of some of the scenes in Harry Potter. So that's really fun to know. And then just a fun alum story. So C.S. Lewis was actually a lecturer on our campus back in the 1940s. And it is said as lore, it's not been proven, but that some of the lampposts in and around Durham were some of his inspiration for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So for Narnia. So a couple of fun
Oh,
facts for you there.
that's awesome. Very
Mhm.
cool. Sounds very steeped in history. And like when you said like some of the buildings or the castles are from like 1030 or whatever you said. I mean,
Yes,
that is
lots of
wild. So
history. Mhm.
I love history and I just feel like just all of the things that you said just make me want to come visit. So if you're looking for counselors to come, let me know. I will be on the next flight to, it's not
Yep.
London. You probably don't fly into London. It's probably somewhere closer. Where would you fly into?
You can fly, well, you can fly into Newcastle International Airport. It only takes about 45 minutes to get to the airport from Durham between a
Okay.
metro and a train ride. You won't find any direct flights from the States to Newcastle, but it's easy to connect to Newcastle. So I've done it from London Heathrow, I've done it from Amsterdam, I've done it from Paris. So it's either like 45 minutes to an hour flight from all of those cities. So it's very, very easy to get to Newcastle. Newcastle is connected to, I think, 70 different locations within the UK and Europe. So it's easy to travel once you're there as a student, but as far as getting to Durham, you at least have to connect once, but it's not that bad.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that doesn't sound terrible at all. I just actually last weekend was in Dublin, Ireland, and
Oh,
it's just
really?
crazy to me how accessible the rest of Europe is once you're actually in Europe. So
Hmm.
I can attest to that. And our next door neighbor goes to Loyola Chicago and she studies at their Rome campus, and she's been probably a new place every other weekend since July. She's been
Yep.
all over the place.
Students
So I
definitely take
love,
advantage of it. Yeah.
yeah, she's like, I only go to school Monday through Thursday, and then I go travel Friday through Sunday, which is insane. But yeah, that sounds amazing. I really appreciate you spending the time with us to let us know a little bit more about Durham and the beautiful campus and just the insane academics, it sounds like too. So it sounds like it's really the best of all worlds. But it was so great meeting you, Alyce. Thanks so much. And best of luck as you approach your January deadline.
Thank you. And you as well with November 1st deadlines approaching too. Thanks for having me today.
Yes, anytime. All right. Take care.
Great. Bye.
Bye.